If you wear these shoes right here, you need to go ahead and stop. Now, we're gonna go ahead and start this video off, and I do want to say this is a reaction video, so the video of the creator for this full video will be linked in the description if you do want to check it out. But you know, I saw this video on my homepage and was very intrigued to see what sneakers we need to go ahead and stop wearing, because you know, I feel like, you know, we only know the knowledge we know, you know, so I feel like this is going to be very beneficial for us to go ahead and watch, just to go ahead and put us on game with, you know, just some more informational things about, you know, different sneakers and things like that. But the creator, as you guys can see, is the Diary of a CEO clips, so we're gonna check it out. First time ever checking out this channel. Let's go ahead and get into this reaction video.
The things you want to look for in a functional shoe. My non-negotiable is the wide toe box. The toes have to be able to splay. When you think of all the diagnoses that we talked about, bunions, neuromas, hammer toes, when the forefoot can splay, the foot's going to function better. So that's number one. Number two is having the heel and the toe in the same plane. And number three is having a shoe that is thin and flexible. When you wear this type of footwear, I call this a workhorse shoe because there is more loads going through all of your tissues, through your bones, through your ligaments, through your tendons, through your muscles. So your foot gets stronger when you wear this type of footwear. There's research on that. Now, you have to earn your right
to get in one of those shoes.
This is the plantar fasciopathy conversation. You can't go from wearing a aggressive, high cushion shoe,
like this one here,
with with an insert, for example, and say, "Oh, this stuff makes sense. I'm gonna go take that off, and I'm gonna go wear this 24 hours a day." You won't like me.
Why?
Because you'll say, "Hey, my heel's hurting."
Right. And you know, that kind of makes sense because, you know, when you're, it's like, what's a good example? Like, let's say you're someone that, and I'm going to try to make this in the best way possible. It's like you kind of going to the gym consistently and then kind of stopping and then kind of going back to the gym and kind of try to bring that consistency back. That first day, it's going to be bad. And, you know, I think she's going to kind of get into this as we kind of get into the video in the future, but she's kind of going to bring up this point about, you know, you can't just transition into something heavily if you haven't had any like prior experience to it. So I hope that gym analogy was able to kind of connect the dots. But I know that kind of makes sense. You know, you can't just go from a cushioned sneaker to a flat foot, barefoot sneaker. It's not going to work. Your feet are going to be in pain. And I feel like you definitely need that smooth transition. As far as the wide toe box she was talking about earlier, I feel like for me, I really don't have a wide foot. But then again, I feel like this conversation is one of those conversations where it's like to really be able to insert yourself, you need to actually know exactly what goes on in your foot and really know like the ins and outs. So I feel like I'm gonna just let her talk about what she got to say. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what else you got to say.
Because you haven't done the work. It's, hey, let's do these foot exercises. Let's wear this for 10 minutes a day. And then people are like, wow, that does feel better. And then it's a transition into wearing this more often. Now, when you have patients that have had a very weak foot, or clients that have had a very weak foot with different diagnoses, this is a hard, you know, shoe to walk around in for extended periods of time. So that's when we'll talk about footwear that still puts the foot in a wide position, wide toe box. I love this shoe. And I also like the mesh upper because the toes can expand in here. I still have 0 drop.
1 spoonful of honey with cinnamon before bed.
I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do for y'all, I'll move my camera to the right.
The secret,
so you guys have a better look.
Right, where the heel and the toe sit in the same plane. But you'll notice the difference between the two shoes is the amount of stack height or the amount of cushion. There's more stuff.
Yeah. So on this shoe, it does look like you call it a plane, looks level.
Yes.
Okay. And it's got a good toe box.
Yes.
You can see from this side that the toe box is wide so you can splay. But it is elevated.
It's elevated off the ground.
Yeah.
But they're
the heel and toe are in the same plane.
Okay, fine. But it's still elevated though. They're still
Yes.
like quite a thick.
Yes.
That's not too much of a problem because it's still
It depends
flat.
on what your goals are.
If I'm running,
That is
That is exactly what I was hoping where she was gonna kind of, pinpoint on. I feel like, a shoe, this title, if you wear these shoes, you need to stop. I feel like that's kind of subjective. I feel like, certain people need different things. So I feel like, to a certain extent, this title does work, but then also if you're on a whole different spectrum, I feel like not every shoe is going to be for a certain person, and whatever works for somebody is not always going to work for the other person too. So I feel like it's very subjective. Your goals play a part, your lifestyle choices play a part. I feel like they really all play a part. So yeah, let me go ahead and see what you got to say.
I think, a great shoe to run on, to run with, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're running on concrete, if you're running on asphalt, you want a little something underneath the foot.
what about the
Nike
Alpha
Vaporfly.
Flies?
Oh,
which
Alpha
is
Fly,
my-
my
Make me
bad,
start
Joe.
sweating.
Really? This is my current running shoe, and I bought it because it looks great.
Yes, I mean, it's.
I have torn the ligaments in my in my ankle, but I look good.
Right.
Here's the super shoe, right? So here's this shoe, right? And here's your super shoe over here.
Yeah.
Okay? When you look at that shoe, there's certain characteristics to that shoe that you definitely do not see in this shoe. One of them being the toe spring. So see how it kind of lips on the front of the shoe,
Yeah.
okay?
This
Like
part, yeah.
concaves
Yes.
up.
So if I had that shoe on this table and I went like this to the front of the shoe, it would literally rocker for me. So it facilitates the rocker of the foot. Sounds great. You put that on, you're like, man, this is great. I can fly. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So there is research that shows when you put your foot in a position with toe spring, you will weaken the intrinsic muscles of the foot. So
Interesting.
I'm
Intrinsic
not
meaning
saying
meaning the front. Intrinsic. Y'all let me know if y'all know what that
don't
means.
have race day and wear that shoe, right? You get the research will tell you 2 to 4% running economy. People run faster because the shoe has the technology to facilitate gait. But if you train in that all the time and you never let your foot get stronger, it's just a matter of time. You're going to say my hamstring, my foot, my this, my that, and it's like that's why the conversation has to happen is this is the shoe that you're going to get stronger in. Spend time in your training shoe, and then that's your speed day. That's your race day. So it's having this shoe spectrum, knowing when to dance along the spectrum.
I feel like I can bounce in these.
I mean, you probably...
That is very interesting. As a person that has not really been a runner, because I have started running, I would say for about 3 months now, even though for the last month and even 2, I haven't really been running at all, or maybe a couple of miles here and there. But I gotta say, I always thought it was very interesting how one would go and kind of figure out which shoe was gonna be better for which environment. But with that being said, I gotta say, this is a very well said interview. I never thought that a Vaporfly would actually not strengthen your foot. Because I've heard that, these regular cushion shoes staple your foot. When it comes to the Vaporfly, it doesn't really help in the best way. So that is definitely a new gem that I have learned as well. You guys let me know. Do any of you guys train in let's say a barefoot shoe or a super shoe? I would like to know in the comment section, obviously on a more consistent basis. Let me know how you have been affected wearing this shoe. Have you kind of got injured more when you play more in the super shoes? Have you not been injured? Let me know your whole experience on that for sure.
I literally, when I put it on, I was like, wow, bounce.
That's
And
right.
I think it has.
Okay, y'all, just making sure we're
It's like a
recording.
piece of metal going through the middle of
Yeah,
it,
there's
which
carbon in there. You know what another fun fact is, though? Certain plyometrics. So plyometric is training the spring of the body. So think like jumping. There's research that will show you that plyometrics also increase capacity in running by 2 to 4%. So my conversation I have with my patients is, listen, what if we stacked therapies, right? What if you did plyometric work
which is
Jumping,
yeah.
Once or twice a week. And we worked on your strength, and I had you in these shoes the majority of the time. And then on race day, you want to throw that shoe on? It's like you're like a running fairy. You're like running and things look beautiful and everything is, because you have a strong body on top of the shoe. But if you put a weak body and a weak foot in that shoe, you got to earn your right.
Should we be standing more often? Because most of us work and live.
I mean, doesn't that make sense though? I thought that's how things go. Don't you kind of train in your more training-esque shoe? And then you kind of convert to that more, race day super shoe. And that's kind of how I thought about it. I never thought you would go from, training in a $250 shoe and also racing in it. Or even training in that $250 shoe and then racing in a training shoe. I feel like that's not really the way it goes. But yeah, I gotta say, piggyback on what he had to say, this guy right here on the screen. Once you try a shoe that has I'm not even like a carbon racer. It can even be like, what's another example? Even a shoe that is just very bouncy. The word he used was bouncy. I have been training in the On Cloud Monsters, you guys, version 1, not the version 2. I recommend those shoes to you as well. Very, very great shoe, very bouncy, and it's a training shoe, not a super shoe. And it's gonna allow you to be able to like go ahead and strengthen your foot. Exactly how she's talking about, where you need a shoe that's going to be able to strengthen your foot. It's going to be able to have your foot, strong and not get you injured. So that's a great shoe, very great training shoe. I've been using, haven't had any problems with it. But I definitely recommend that out to you guys too. I've done the whole review on my channel too as well.
This podcast sat down. Do you think much about standing desks or how often we should spend bipedal?
Right.
Well, I think that's what you
Let me know if y'all tried a standing desk
that
before.
It's more about movement.
Okay.
I don't know if standing in one place is any better than sitting in one place, other than when you're standing, you can actually move around and, make it more active standing. But it is a matter of taking movement breaks. I call them, movement snacks. All of us spend a lot of time either sitting all day long or, standing at our desks. If we were to take micro walks, a 5-minute walk, a couple times a day, the system stays moving, you're staying active, and you're slowly, inching up that step count that we know is so important for not only physical health, but emotional and mental health. That's what I like about it.
I think you mentioned there was an association with movement, walking, and dementia,
Yes.
Alzheimer's risk. What does the science say there?
When you look at step counts, if that was going to be our baseline, 9,800 steps per day can reduce the risks of dementia. But what I think is the cool part with that is 3,800 steps. You get 50% of the maximal benefit. So,
meet Gym Monster 2, your all-in-one
Man, y'all, she got some
smart
broad
home gym.
shoulders. I don't know if
It's
y'all been
compact,
looking, but man,
self-standing
that has
design,
just
fits
been catching
anywhere.
my eye.
No setup, no
You can
limits.
definitely tell she is putting in work.
if you were to,
And she's overall just has a very fit body. I wonder how long she's been working out for. Hopefully she touches on that a little
let's
bit
call
later
it
in the video.
4,000. Shoot for 4,000 steps. You're going to get a benefit. A 50% benefit. And some of my favorite research on looking at that population with walking is relationship walking. There's really cool studies looking at walking in groups for the elderly population and how that has a social connection, and it improves their emotional health, and it combats loneliness and feelings of isolation. And that is the beauty of a walk.
Run clubs are getting incredibly popular at the moment, aren't
Yes.
they, all around the world? Are you seeing more and more people come to you as a result of that?
Yes. I think also, it was interesting. I was working at the running event in Austin, Texas, and I was teaching there. And so a lot of the shoe stores were there. And one of the bigger shoe stores had said that the majority of their clients now are actually walkers and not runners. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder why that is. Like, are more people reverting to walking because they're getting injured when they're running? Are they, I'm making all these conclusions in my head. I'm like, well, is it because we're going in the wrong direction with footwear? Because we're creating this shoe that is basically doing the work for us and it feels so good and, people aren't putting the work in anymore? I don't know. But I'm certainly going to do my best to change that.
You bought me a box.
That is very,
which I
very
have.
interesting. Let me know, because I'm sure I have a couple of runners in this channel. Let me know. Would you be willing to sacrifice your running for walking? Me personally, I feel like, and this is my personal take, and I feel like even my friend would agree on this in a certain extent. I feel like when you run, it's a little different than walking. Like, I feel like for me, I would rather run personally because when I run, I wouldn't say it's quicker, but I feel like I'm just being more effective. I feel like if I walk, for me to be able to hit the amount of distance that I hit, or to be able to burn the amount of calories that I did burn, I feel like it'll be most effective if I was to run. And then also, I'm not the biggest cardio person out there, so I feel like I do want to just get it over and done with. So yeah, that's my personal take. I definitely don't think I would see myself switching from running to walking. You guys let me know. I feel like I wouldn't, because I feel like running is also like it's kind of like a mental game. And if you kind of think about it, when you run, you can either stop when you're tired, or you can go ahead and push yourself to your maximum limits. So I feel like running is one of those things as well, where it's something where it's good in terms of fitness, but it's also good in training your mind to be able to go through hard things. So I feel like I would never change that for walking. I feel like walking is too easy. It's too, not lazy, but it's just like, I can go on my phone when I'm walking. I can play a game. It just feels too lackluster and just chill. But then again, that's just my mindset. I feel like right now I'm on a really go growth mindset right now.
Foot health kit. I mean, what is in this box?
It's like my little bag of treats. When I started doing this, it was funny.
This is what you give people as a bag of treats.
That's right.
For their birthdays and stuff.
I want people to start thinking about their feet, because I think there's such implications for their health. And I wanted to make it easy, because when we think about all the things we need to do to stay healthy, it's like I have to strength train. I have to, eat this. I need to VO2 max. I need my cardiorespiratory fitness. There's a lot. So I wanted to make it easy. So I first, one of the things that is in there are toe strengtheners.
So I'll pull them out of the box. So
those are toe spacers.
Toe spacers?
Yes.
So is this all the same thing, right?
Please don't tell me we're putting this on our feet. That already sounds incredibly uncomfortable. But we're going to go ahead and see what she got to say. I know she likes your feet to have that wide toe box, so it allows for your feet to be very spread out and not together. So I think this is going to play a part.
So these are
that.
toe spacers.
Correct.
And then there's this.
Yes.
What's this?
Those are toe
spacer?
strengtheners.
Toe strengtheners.
Oh,
Okay, so
strength.
that's
Yes.
my
Oh,
toe
I see. Your
workout.
resistance
Yes.
There is
bands.
this thing.
A band.
And then there's this ball.
Yes.
So this is my foot gym.
That's right.
Can you show me how this stuff works?
Absolutely.
Okay, so these are my feet, and these are my ankles. So I had plantar fasciitis in, I believe it was this foot actually, and then right now I've got a high ankle sprain, which is some kind of ligament here has been torn, and they told me that it's torn on all three sides. So I've been in a boot for the last couple of weeks, but I've taken it off over the last week or two, and I was on crutches as well. What are you? The minute I took my socks off, you became fixated on my feet.
Yes.
What do I need to be thinking about, and what can you see just by looking at my feet?
When you're looking at this foot here, you can start to see this little bump here.
Mm-hmm.
You can start to see bumps on the top of the big toe. Okay, and the diagnosis is a hallux limitus or a hallux rigidus. And basically what that means is that you have formed arthritis on the top of the toe. So it prevents you from getting that full range of motion that we need when we walk and run.
Okay.
Okay? If the bump goes out to the side, that's what we call hallux valgus. That's the bunion.
The bunion. Okay.
Okay?
Oh, that's
So-
a bunion, man.
That's why the foot is a window to mechanics, because you can see loads, aberrant loads, right? Why is this here? So, you know, one of the first things I want to look at is how much range of motion. The big toe, it's all about the big toe. When we're walking, we put a lot of loads and force that go through the big toe when we walk. You should have about 40 to 45 degrees to walk out of that big toe. So here's Eddie. Here's 45 degrees.
Up.
Up. Okay? So, yes. So, what I want to see is how much range of motion. Can you see how he's off the ground, though? I want the ball of the big toe on the ground. That's
This is the Wonder Oven Pro from our place. Our
Hey, yo,
next
try it at
generation
home, yo.
Non-toxic air fryer.
I feel like I'm
toaster oven.
straight, man. I'm
That's
not
a
even
good
giving you
amount
that
of
full
range.
90,
That's
man. I'm
nice that
giving
you
you
said
that
about my face.
180.
We're just getting started. I'll find something else. And then you want to look at toe dexterity. So in other words, can you isolate your toes? So can you lift just your big toe on the right? Good. And then on the left. Good.
That's actually quite hard. Like, I've never had to do that before.
It's funny because when you'll see people that have poor awareness to their feet, when they try to lift their toes, you'll see them like their hands. I'm like, your back isn't going to extend your toe. Okay? And then put your big toe down and then extend your 4 toes. Yes.
That's tough. I can already
No,
tell
that
just
pinky
looking
isn't-
at it.
That's
You
not
definitely
the
got to think about it.
There you go. And here. Okay, and then what I want you to do is you're going to lift up all of your toes and spread them. And you can see
Spreading them would be
2,
crazy.
3, and 4. Right? They don't want to spread as much.
Like, how do you
Earlier we
spread
talked
'em?
about those neuromas. The neuromas live within the toes.
I don't even know how to spread 'em,
within-
y'all.
Right in between the toes. So if we have issues with nerve problems here, you got to be able to splay. So you wear Vivos. You know, when you allow your foot to be in a shoe,
For all my people that don't know what Vivos are barefoot shoes, I believe. I know they have a lot of barefoot shoes out there, and I've seen a lot of reviews on Vivos. And I'll show y'all real quick what a Vivo shoe looks like, y'all. Don't look at those video titles, y'all. Those are some sneak peeks of some other reactions we got going on. But Vivo, yeah, so it's actually a barefoot brand. As you guys can see, very flat base. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show y'all. That's how they look like. Their brand is really noticeable, so it kind of looks like that. If you guys wanted to know,
where the feet can actually splay, you'll start to see changes. But imagine if you were in a shoe where your foot, I mean, I was at an expo working a couple weeks ago, and this woman came up to me and she's like, man, I can't figure out why my foot hurts. And I took her shoe off, and I'm telling you, her foot looked like this. It looked like a
Wow.
shoe. And I took a picture and I showed it to her, and I was like, does your foot look like a foot, or does it look like a shoe?
We don't really know the difference these days.
No. Because remember, the widest part of the foot should be the toes. So that's what we
Interesting.
want to look for in the front of the foot. We also talked about that muscle. What side did you have the heel pain on?
damn, this is really frustrating.
was
I
the right
really
side.
can't spread
So
my
one of the
toes
things
out.
we'll do, and you can actually do this at home. You could use like a credit card. So in my office, we can actually measure that. But if you were to do it at home, you just take a card and put it underneath the toe. Okay?
Okay.
And make sure you're lined up here, yep. And some people will also do that. See how you're like holding your leg, just the toe. And then I'll try to pull the card out from under you. And I shouldn't be able to do that. I should feel some tension. And then I'll ask the patient, where do you feel this? What's working? And if they say, my hip, my quad, it's the wrong guy. We're talking about the foot. So you should feel that in the arch of the foot and maybe into the calf. Okay, big toe. Flexor hallucis longus. This guy, by the way, this muscle starts over here. It's very important to strengthen this muscle when you have a history of ankle sprains. Starts on the fibula, which is the outside of the leg. It comes down the foot, crosses under, and inserts into the big toe. Then I'm going to take the card and I'm going to put it underneath the 4 toes. The muscle that we're looking for, yes, that's beautiful. See how you got that little, see, that's the second compliment I gave you about your feet. I'm going to put this underneath your toes.
Yep.
Right? Little, yep. And then don't let me pull the card out. And you should feel that in the arch of your foot. Patients that have...
I'm not really feeling it, to be honest. I'm not feeling it in the arch.
Okay, oh, what?
Okay.
There you go. Roll the bottom of the foot.
Like this.
Yes. Just wake it up a little bit. There's a bunch of receptors on the bottoms of the foot. So when we can't feel things, and it shouldn't surprise us. You know, if we've been walking around in footwear that compromises the function of the foot, or we've had injuries, you start to lack what we can feel. So just wake it up a little bit.
And how long would you do that for in the morning?
60, 90 seconds.
Do you do this every day?
I do. I'll tell you when if I'm standing at my desk, I'll keep the ball there.
Okay.
When I come back from a run, I do this whole little setup. But I wear these all day.
What is that you're wearing there?
So these are toe spacers. So they do exactly that. They splay the foot.
And why are you wearing that?
Interesting.
Remember when I...
You know, I feel like this life is very interesting because I feel like what you do and like what you do in your daily life, what you really believe is kind of what reflects like what you do on a day-to-day basis. Like for me, what I do on a day-to-day basis looks like, you know, like I have a certain type of diet to a certain extent. Or, you know, like I work out every day, or, you know, I'm checking out releases, or, you know, I pray every day, or just all these different aspects to me. But she has just all these different unique things, you know, and you can tell that she's really into feet, you know, because she has obviously this product, this little care package of things where she has like spacers, she has these resistant bands, and just all these things that kind of, you know, improve your overall foot health. And, you know, she has these little things where she has the balls, she has her little routine, and I'm pretty sure she has a lot of other routines outside of this too that kind of, you know, improve her foot health or just are unique to her. So I don't know. I'm a very like curious person. I just, you know, I feel like as I'm kind of growing older and I kind of get, you know, like kind of growing into myself, I feel like it's very interesting how like different people are very unique. You know, each person has their own little routines, little things they do. So I definitely just find it very interesting how, you know, her life is very different from mine. And as I'm sure yours is from mine too. So I just find it very interesting.
Just telling you about my years of being a ballet dancer.
Very mind-boggling.
Okay. In point shoes, I wore orthotics for a long period of time. I wore ill-fitting footwear, and my foot was weak and things hurt. Okay, and we talked about why I needed to fix all of that. You can see...
With enough motivation and a little money, anyone can learn how to get ahead. How long would it take you to figure out the markets on your own? To try, fail, second guess, and waste
my bunion here. Okay? So I work on all of this stuff all the time, and toe splay is a big part of that. So when I have these toe spacers in, they splay the foot.
I'm guessing she has them on 24 hours a day.
Every pair of shoes that I wear is compatible with a toe spacer.
Okay, so you don't wear any narrow shoes?
No. That's my non-negotiable.
Okay.
And this is important. There is a difference between a wide toe box and a wide shoe. So people will say, well, I ordered the wide. The width will come here. That's where they change the width. But if the toes are still tapered, the width has to extend into where the toes are. So that's where you got to be careful. It's
so you can get a wide shoe.
It's not a wide toe box shoe.
Yeah.
And if you try to wear these in just a wide shoe, you're not going to be comfortable.
So if I wore this for
'Cause your
1
toes are
year,
gonna be
what
scrunched.
promise could you make me, or what could you tell me the benefit and the upside would be?
You would definitely see improvement of display of your foot.
Yeah.
And when you have the tissues, the splay, you can start to improve the strength of the foot.
And what's downstream from strong foot?
Go up the chain. You have better toe strength, you're gonna build a better platform. You're gonna have a jet engine on a jet engine, so your ankle mobility, then your knee extension, your hip extension, because your foot is doing what it was designed to do, which is be mobile and be strong.
Okay.
We need to pay attention. If things go south from here,
That's your foundation.
you can expect there to be changes up the chain. I see it all the time.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me.
Interesting, you guys. You guys heard it, man. We got to take care of our feet. That's even why I like to even stress comfortable sneakers. You know, I try to give you guys a good spot to be able to go ahead and learn about the not only the latest and greatest, but also just know about, you know, the releases that have always been good time and time again. So with that being said, leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe and hit notification bell so you don't miss these daily uploads. So as I was kind of saying from before, if you guys do want to go ahead and, you know, keep your foot at its utmost health, keep it comfortable, maybe you need a good sneaker for running, it could be basketball, whatever the case may be, I have a bunch of different list videos right here in this playlist which accommodate a array of categories. So I'll see you guys there.